Your current existence is a sterilized lie. You have been trained to fear the very thing that makes you an apex predator, your dark side. They call it aggression, ego, or obsession. But in the terminal of reality, these are your primary fuels. You are sitting there with a fake smile, pretending to be nice, while your internal systems are rotting from the suppression of your primal urges. Your skin is sallow, your eyes lack the predatory glint of a focused hunter, and your muscles are soft from the lack of a real enemy. You have been castrated by a social matrix that needs you to be a team player, which is just code for a replaceable gear in someone else's machine. You are a biological unit that has been disconnected from its power source. You feel the void in your chest because you have buried the monster that was supposed to protect your territory and expand your influence. You are living in a grey fog of mediocrity, terrified that if you show your teeth, the herd will cast you out. But the herd is already dying, and you are starving for a kill you haven't dared to make. Your goodness is just a lack of options. Look at the ancient hierarchy, the law of the shadow. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the primordial forest, did not survive through kindness. He survived because he was the most effective instrument of violence and calculation in his territory. His darkness, his ruthlessness, his territoriality, his cold indifference to the weak was his biological leverage. It was the force that allowed him to move the heavy weight of destiny. He didn't have empathy for the creature he was eating. He had hunger. He didn't have guilt for the rival he displaced. He had success. The hierarchy of the bone does not recognize the concept of fairness. It only recognizes functional dominance. You have been bred from a line of men who understood that the monster inside is not a bug, but a feature. It is the part of your DNA that refuses to settle for scraps. It is the primal grounding of your empire. When you suppress this, you are not being a good person. You are being a broken biological unit. To achieve empire-level sovereignty, you must reintegrate the shadow. You must stop trying to fix your darkness and start using it as a high-pressure hydraulic fluid to drive your expansion. The wolf does not apologize for the lamb. Biological leverage is the implementation of the anti-chew protocol for your ambition. The system wants your goals to be manageable and sustainable. These are words for the weak. An empire is built on the unsustainable fire of obsession. Your dark side, your burning envy, your cold arrogance, your absolute refusal to be second is the visual rage that will burn through the obstacles that stop normal men. You must treat your vices as activation triggers. Use your anger to fuel your late-night work. Use your arrogance to walk into rooms where you don't belong and take what you want. Use your coldness to fire the people who are slowing down your progress. This is the color of freedom. By acknowledging and controlling your darkness, you become its master instead of its victim. Most people are possessed by their shadows. The architect possesses the shadow. You must develop a clinical, expert contempt for balance. Balance is for the dead. An empire is an imbalance in your favor. It is the result of pushing one variable, your will, to its absolute limit. A predator's eye is focused on the target, not the mirror. Your time is the temporal noose, and the shadow is the only thing that can cut it. While you are busy being agreeable, the clock is stripping your life away. Every time you say yes to a request you hate, you are committing a micro-suicide. I command you, initiate the shadow audit. Look at your negative traits. Your stubbornness is actually consistency. Your greed is actually resource optimization. Your ruthlessness is actually efficiency. Relabel them. Retool them. You are no longer a member of society. You are an operator of the empire. You must treat your life as a military campaign. Your darkness is your special forces unit. It goes where the polite part of you is too afraid to step. You must prune your life of toxic positivity. Surround yourself with the cold reality of numbers and the hard truth of results. This is the monolith strategy, standing singular and terrifying in your honesty about what you want. You don't want enough. You want everything. You don't want to participate. You want to dominate. The darkness is not a cage. It is the key. Your current social persona is a costume made of wet cardboard. It is disintegrating under the pressure of your suppressed instincts. Every time you swallow your rage, every time you stifle your ambition to fit in, you are injecting a biological neurotoxin into your own motivation centers. You are a predator that has been convinced it is a plant. Look at your daily routine. It is a series of polite nods and soft-spoken compromises. This is the visual rage of the domesticate, seeing your teeth go blunt and your eyes go dull because you are afraid of your own shadow. You are living in a state of chemical castration, where your testosterone is diverted into stress instead of conquest. Your biology is screaming for a target, but you have given it a cubicle. You have given it small talk. You are a biological unit with a massive surplus of unused aggression, and it is currently eating you from the inside out like a cancer of the spirit. The air in your lungs is stale because you are breathing the exhaled air of losers who think safety is a strategy. The monster you hide is the only part of you that can actually win. Look back at the ancient hierarchy, the law of the ruthless lineage. In the Pleistocene, the dark traits, the ones the modern world tries to medicate out of you, were the primary markers of a successful breeding male. A man who was too nice didn't secure the best hunting grounds. A man who was too empathetic didn't survive the winter when resources were thin. Your ancestor was a cold-blooded calculator who used every dark impulse to ensure the survival of his code. He understood that the shadow is the primal grounding of authority. Authority is not given, it is exerted. It is the weight of a personality that is willing to go further into the darkness than anyone else. You carry his DNA, but you have been taught to be ashamed of it. You have been told that your ego is a problem. In reality, your ego is the collar of freedom, the only thing that keeps you from being swallowed by the collective. To build an empire, you must stop being a good man and start being a great man. Greatness has nothing to do with morality. It has everything to do with magnitude. You must relearn the art of the biological siege, the ability to focus your darkest, most obsessive impulses on a single point of the world until it breaks. An empire is just a shadow that became too big to ignore. Biological leverage is the activation of your anti-chew protocol for world building. The system wants you to be balanced because a balanced man is a static man. An empire requires a massive, violent imbalance. Your dark side, your envy of those above you, your disdain for those below you, your absolute obsession with legacy is the high-octane fuel required to break escape velocity from the gravity of the average. You must treat your antisocial traits as competitive advantages. Your coldness is actually emotional immunity. Your arrogance is actually unshakable certainty. Your manipulation is actually social engineering. You are an operator, and your darkness is your toolkit. Most people are meat puppets who are afraid to look in the mirror. You are the one who breaks the mirror and uses the shards to build a throne. This is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the world as raw material that needs to be reshaped by your will. You do not ask the world what it wants to be. You tell the world what it will become. If you have to break hearts, break laws, or break spirits to achieve the vision, you do it without a chew of hesitation. The result is the only justification the hierarchy understands. The sun doesn't care who it blinds, it just burns. Your time is the temporal noose, and your shadow is the only blade sharp enough to cut it. Every second you spend being polite to people who don't matter is a second stolen from your empire. I command you, initiate the total shadow integration. Stop apologizing for your success. Stop hiding your hunger. If you want more money, more power, and more territory, say it. The Matrix uses your morality as a leash to keep you in the middle of the herd. Snapping that leash is the first act of a sovereign. You must cultivate a monolith presence, cold, immovable, and singular. Your empire is a biological extension of your own dark leverage. It is the physical manifestation of your refusal to be a footnote in history. You must prune your life of weak signals. Anyone who tries to make you feel guilty for your ambition is a biological saboteur. They are parasites trying to drain your activation energy. You are building a fortress of will. Your darkness is the mortar between the stones. It is the part of you that stays awake when the world sleeps. It is the part of you that does what must be done without asking for permission. Command, unleash the shadow or be consumed by the light. Your current psychological structure is a decaying dam holding back an ocean of liquid fire. Look at your hands. They tremble with suppressed power, the nervous energy of a predator that has been forced to eat grass for a lifetime. You are a biological system in a state of self-inflicted paralysis. Every time you swallow your pride, every time you choke down your rightful arrogance to make a room of losers feel comfortable, you're committing a slow-motion biological suicide. Your blood is thick with the cortisol of the suppressed, and your eyes have the hollow look of a domestic animal that has forgotten it has teeth. You are living in a sterilized cage of civility, breathing the recycled air of a society that fears the very darkness that once protected it. This is the visual rage of the neutered, seeing your life force being drained to power the common good, a grid that doesn't even know your name. You are a resource-rich organism that has been taught to hate its own fuel. Your darkness is the only thing that hasn't lied to you. Return to the ancient hierarchy, the law of the shadow and the spear. In the primal world, the monster wasn't a metaphor. It was the requirement for entry into the elite. Your ancestor did not build his lineage through fairness or compromise. He built it through the cold surgical application of biological leverage. He used his territoriality to claim the valley. He used his ruthlessness to eliminate the competition. He used his ego to command the tribe. He understood that the shadow is the primal grounding of the monolith. A leader without darkness is just a servant in a crown. You carry the genetic memories of conquest. trust, but you have been conditioned to see them as toxic. This is the greatest hack in human history. The weak convinced the strong that their strength was a disease. To build an empire, you must reverse this infection. You must realize that your darkest traits are actually your highest tier software. Your obsession is the engine of your empire. Your coldness is its armor. Your greed is its expansion code. You are not a member of a tribe. You are the architect of a new one. History is written in the ink of the shadow, not the tears of the weak. Biological leverage is the activation of the anti-chew protocol for total dominance. The Matrix wants you to be relatable and authentic, words that mean predictable and vulnerable. An empire is an exercise in absolute, unshakable sovereignty. Your dark side is the activation energy required to cross the threshold that stops normal men. When they hit a wall of morality, you see an opening. When they hit a wall of empathy, you see a tactical advantage. This isn't evil, it is biological efficiency. You are an operator, and the shadow is your night vision. It allows you to see the opportunities that are hidden in the dark, the deals that the polite won't touch, and the power vacuums that the nice are too afraid to fill. This is the visual rage of the sovereign, seeing the world as a game of biological chess, where the only wrong move is a move made out of guilt. You must develop a clinical contempt for redemption. You don't need to be saved, you need to be obeyed. Your empire is the physical proof of your dark leverage, a monument to the fact that you stopped asking for permission to be powerful. The dark doesn't need to explain itself to the candle. Your time is the temporal noose, and the shadow is the only blade that can cut the rope. While you are busy being agreeable, your biological clock is counting down to zero. I command you, initiate the final shadow merger. Stop pretending you don't want the throne. Stop pretending you care about the consensus. The Matrix uses your fear of being judged as a collar to keep you at the back of the line. Snap it. You must manifest a monolith presence, a cold, terrifying weight that bends the reality around you. Your empire is a biological extension of your refusal to be a good boy in a dying world. You must prune your life of empathy parasites, people who use your conscience as a handle to steer you. They are saboteurs of your activation. You are building a fortress of results. Your darkness is the secret fire that keeps the walls warm while the world outside freezes in its own mediocrity. You do not wait for the sun to rise. You become the sun that dictates the day. Command: embrace the monster or die in the herd.